Welcome back to the Grambling State Dynasty, guys. It's time to kick off Season 7. But first, let's take a look at the preseason polls. Our Tigers come in ranked number 1 this season, followed by USC, Texas A&M, Oregon, Michigan State, Ohio State, Bama, Nebraska, UCLA, and Oklahoma. Now to the race for the Heisman, and for the past few seasons, GSU has had a player on the list, and the tradition continues with senior quarterback Chris King. After a breakout season last year, the senior looks to add another Heisman trophy to the Grambling State trophy case. And here's a look at the preseason All-American list for Season 7, led by QB Chris King, defensive end Torian Ray, linebacker Jason West, corner Rayshawn Baker, safety Mike Collins, and returner Eric Rogers. On the second team, wideout Jordan Paxson and new starting corner Brent Stovall. In Week 1, our Tigers are locking up with the Michigan Wolverines. Michigan comes in ranked number 5 in the country and led by junior quarterback Sean Brown. He's on the Heisman shortlist after his 2,280-yard, 22-touchdown sophomore season. He's a runner first, but his arm has gotten much better since we played him in his freshman year. This is a very good team, and they're 3 deep at running back led by Oliver Jones. They're also deep at wide receiver, which should be an interesting matchup for our secondary. Their offensive line is solid. We might have to bring an extra person to apply some pressure. On defense, the Wolverines are stacked. There is no weakness on this squad. All 3 levels are deep and are ball hawks. This should be a fun matchup for our Tigers. To Jerry's World we go. The number 1 ranked Tigers kick off Season 7 with a top 5 matchup with the Michigan Wolverines. Both teams come into the season with high expectations, but only one team will leave Cowboy Stadium 1-0. First quarter action, Chris King comes out firing, hitting Antonio Walker on the slant for 11 yards. Then Pierre Jackson gets his first carry in the GSU uniform and only picks up a yard. Tigers facing 3rd and long. King drops back, and look at this beautiful throw to Paxson over the middle for 23. Then Jackson gets it again, and he pushes the pile ahead for 6 yards. A few plays later, King goes back to the air, hits Paxson on the drag. He turns upfield, catches a block, and picks up 20. Next play, King continues his hot hand, linking up with Walker again. He spins and gets inside the 5-yard line. Then Pierre Jackson takes the handoff up the middle and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Grambling! That's the freshman's first touchdown of his career. Michigan takes over. Brown goes play action and throws a dart to Cobbs over the middle for 12. Then Brown goes back to the air and hits Cruz wide open behind the defense, and he picks up 30 big yards. Then on first down, Jones tries to bounce it outside, but Jason West shuts it down for the TFL. But Jones would get it right back, cutting back inside, shedding 3 tackles and pinballing his way to 17. A few plays later, Brown with the play action, and he dumps it off to Lowe, and he gets into the end zone. We're tied up at 7. Tigers' next possession, King looks to go to the air and hits Antonio Walker on the outside for 11. Then on 4th and short, Jackson finds some room and bulls his way to 4 yards. Next play, King with the deep drop, and he throws a dart to Paxson up the seam, and the speedster picks up 26 yards. Later in the drive, Jackson hits the hole up the middle, and he picks up 6 more yards. Next play, King with the 3-step drop and hits Walker on the slant. Touchdown, Grambling! Tigers regain the lead. Next Michigan possession, Brown tries to sneak out. He sheds a tackle, stumbles, and it's a fumble. Torian Ray jumps on it. G-men recover. And the Tigers look to make them pay. Jackson makes a cut in the hole and finds some space and spins his way to 16. Next play, Kevin Easley weaves his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Grambling! Tigers up 2 touchdowns. Next Wolverines possession, Brown drops back and threads the needle to Holiday over the middle, and he picks up 19. A few plays later, Brown with the play action doesn't like what he sees, gets tripped up and sacked by Mike Anderson. Then Brown drops back, steps up, tries to go across the middle, but Brent Stovall goes full extension to knock it down. Michigan forced to punt, and the Wolverines set up to punt, but it's a fake. Lowe tries to hit the hole on the right, but gets stopped short. Tigers ball. And GSU would come out throwing. King with the deep drop and threads the needle to Will Carter over the middle for 18. The senior QB continues to pick apart the Michigan defense, connecting with Paxson again behind the defense. Tigers inside the red zone. Next play, King goes back to the air and finds Tim Clark wide open. Touchdown, Grambling. That's the big tight end's first touchdown. Tigers lead 28-7. But here comes Michigan. Brown hits Cobbs on the check down, and he picks up 7 yards. Then Jones takes the counter, finds a little space, bounces off a defender and picks up 9. Then the running back shows off his power, bowling over a defender and stumbling ahead to pick up 9. 2 plays later, Jones catches the screen, turns upfield, and powers his way to 10 more yards. Next play, Fogel takes the handoff, bounces it outside. He stiff arms Baker and is off to the races. He catches a block downfield and is gone. Fogel gets into the end zone. Michigan cuts the lead in half. Next Tigers possession, Jackson takes the handoff, makes a cut, and he's got tons of room, and he is gone. Pierre Jackson goes 80 yards to the house. Touchdown, Grambling. What a run by the freshman. But Michigan is still fighting. Fogel bounces, weaves, and breaks tackles and is finally brought down after picking up 12. Then the speedy back gets it again. He avoids a defender and is finally tackled after a 10-yard pickup. Then Brown with the deep drop, and he finds Wilson wide open behind the zone, and he fights ahead for 24. Later to drive, Brown with the quick drop, and his Brown on the slant is first and goal Michigan. 3 plays later, Brown tries to force a pass over the middle and is picked off by Ken Johnson in the end zone. Great stand by the G-men. Tigers go 2-minute drill. King goes to the air, hitting Walker on the curl for 10. Then King drops back and hits his big tight end Tim Clark over the middle for 19. Next play, King with another drop back. He loads up to go deep, but gets picked off by Smith. King needs to throw it out just a little bit more. And Michigan looks to capitalize. Brown drops back and hits Jones on the slant. Collins misses, and Jones is off to the races. He's finally brought down after a huge gain. A few plays later, Brown has all day to throw. He finally finds Chase Brown on the cutback cheese. Touchdown, Michigan. Tigers lead down to 14. Ensuing kickoff, Eric Rogers is back deep for the return, and he's bringing it out. He gets a huge block that springs him, and he's off to the races. He cuts inside, then back outside, and he is gone. Eric Rogers goes 107 yards to the house. Touchdown, Grambling. And that was sent us to the half. GSU was looking dynamic, up big, 42-21. The new look offense looks strong, and the defense is starting to wake up. Let's see if they can put the game away in the second half. Start of the third, Brown drops back, tries to go to the outside, but Brent Stovall does it again. Full extension for the deflection. But on 3rd and long, Brown drops back. He's got tons of time in the pocket, and he finally hits Cruz, and he turns upfield to pick up 29. Later in the drive, Brown goes back to the air, but here comes the rush. Torian Ray comes screaming off the end to get the sack. Tigers take over. King drops back. Hits Bobby Smith on the outside for 14. Then Pierre Jackson finds a huge lane on the right and picks up 10 more yards. Then look at this throw from Chris King. Hit Jordan Paxson in the end zone between 3 defenders. Touchdown, Grambling. After a Michigan 3-and-out, Rogers is back deep for the punt return. He starts left, cuts it back right, sets up his blockers, turns the corner, cuts back inside, and is pulled down after a 61-yard return. A few plays later, Pierre Jackson punches it in for the 3rd time on the day. Touchdown, Grambling. What a day for the freshman running back. After another Michigan 3-and-out, easily takes the handoff. He hits the hole. Look at the spin move, and he's off to the races. The junior back makes a cut but steps out of bounds after picking up 36. A few plays later, easily punches it in for his 2nd touchdown of the day. Touchdown, Grambling. Tigers break 60, and that would do it. Grambling State wins in convincing fashion, 70-28. Chris King finished 20 of 23 for 266 and 3 touchdowns. Pierre Jackson in his first game finished with 161 yards and 3 scores and easily had 3 touchdowns. Paxton finished with 110 yards in the score, and the defense finished with 7 sacks and 3 turnovers. What a way to kick off Season 7. Next up, the number 4 team in the nation, the Oregon Ducks. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're brand new. And make sure you hit those links down in my description. Follow your boy on Twitter, IG, and Facebook at Big C Gat Game, and we'll talk in the Tigers Den podcast. Have a great day, guys. 2 fingers in the air. Peace.